In this video, we will be looking at weathering. We will be defining weathering, and then we'll be looking at the two different sorts, chemical and mechanical. So let's begin by defining weathering. Weathering is the decomposition or disintegration of rock in its original place, at or close to the ground surface. So basically the rock is being broken down. There are two different groups that you need to know about. Chemical weathering, where there is a chemical change, and mechanical weathering, where there is no chemical change. In fact, there are three types of chemical weathering. Carbonation is where there is a reaction between carbonic acid, found in rainwater, and calcium carbonate, found in rocks. When these two react, they form calcium bicarbonate, which dissolves and can be removed. Have a look at the diagram. There is a rock, and I have zoomed into a section of it. As you can see, the rock is made up of different minerals. Watch the white mineral carefully. As the acid rain begins, the mineral is dissolved. So now take a look at the photo. What was a nice smooth rock is now very textured, as part of the rock has now gone. The second type of chemical weathering is oxidation. This is when there is a reaction between water and oxygen, and the rock begins to change to a reddy, rusty colour. And the final type of chemical weathering you need to know about is hydrolysis. This again involves acid rain, but the rock breaks down to form a clay-like substance. So let's move on to mechanical weathering. The first type you need to know about is freeze-thaw. Water will enter a fracture in the rock. When the temperature drops below 0 degrees, it will freeze, putting pressure on the fracture, causing it to widen. When temperatures increase again, the water will melt, and as a result it can make its way deeper into the newly widened fracture, and the process is repeated until the rock splits entirely. If the rock is by the coast, you may get salt weathering. This is another form of mechanical weathering. This is when salty seawater enters the fracture. The salt will crystallize, and as it starts to crystallize, you might see white covering on the rocks. Like with the freeze-thaw weathering, the salt crystals will start to put pressure on the rock, weakening it. Now that you have revised weathering, have a go at answering these questions. How many types of chemical weathering are there? What colour does the rock become during oxidation? Give an example of a rock which has been affected by carbonation. Name two types of mechanical weathering. And true or false, mechanical weathering involves a change of rock composition. Pause the video now before the answers are shown. So there are three types of chemical weathering. During oxidation, the rocks become a rusty colour. An example of a rock affected by carbonation is limestone. There are two types of mechanical weathering, which are freeze-thaw weathering and salt weathering. And the statement is false.